quality on quality initiatives and sustenance in higher education institution organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell, School of Allied Health Sciences, Vinayagar Missions, Puducherry Campus, Puducherry. I am extremely delighted to welcome our Professor Dr. Charulata Madam, Department of Physiotherapy, Sri Devaraj, URS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Karnataka, India, Professor Dr. Nanashekhar Sir, Director IQAC of VMRFDU, Professor Dr. B. Senthilkumar Sir, Dean, Allied Health Sciences, VMRFDU Salem, Mr. Andrew John Sylvester Sir, Director, School of Allied Health Sciences, VMRFDU, Puducherry. Finally, we would like to welcome all the institution, constituent colleges, and schools of Vinayagar Missions Research Foundation, deemed to be 37th. I am pleased to invite our astonishing Mr. Andrew John Sylvester Sir, Director, School of Allied Health Sciences, to deliver the welcome address.
Extremely happy to be given this opportunity to welcome you all on this 37th quality webinar series on quality initiative and sustenance in higher education hosted by our School of Allied Health Sciences, Vinayagar Missions Research Foundation, deemed to be University, Vinayagar Mission, Puducherry Campus, Puducherry. With the heavenly blessings of our founder chancellor, Honorable Dr. A.S. Shanmugasundaram sir, and with the benevolence of our Honorable Mrs. Annapurni Shanmugasundaram madam, with their blessings and guidance of our chancellor, Dr. A.S. Ganeshan sir, and Director VMRF, Dr. Anuradha Ganeshan ma'am, I am extremely happy to welcome you all for this quality webinar series. Respected resource person, Professor Dr. Saralata, Department of Physiotherapy, Sri Devaraj, URS, Academy of Education and Research, Karnataka, India. We welcome you, ma'am. Respected Dean Director, Allied Health Sciences, Professor Dr. B. Senthilkumar sir. Respected Professor Dr. P. Gnanashekharan sir, Director, IQAC. University officials, Head of Institutions, Head of the Departments, Faculties, Admin Staffs. On behalf of School of Allied Health Sciences and the entire fraternity of the institution, I welcome you all for the 37th Quality Webinar Series. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome. The way one works determines the quality and quantity of rewards. I, on behalf of everyone here, heartily welcome our stars of the day, Professor Dr. Charulata Madam, PhD in Physiotherapy from Sri Devaraj URS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Karnataka, India. Madam have involved in various research activities. She have engaged in interprofessional education and practice initiatives. She is specialized in geriatric fall prevention strategies. Research focus includes diabetic neuropathy and its impact on quality of life. Currently overseeing ongoing funded projects on geriatric outcomes. Madam have formerly served as the head of the physiotherapy department, overseeing undergraduate, postgraduate, and PhD programs. She have accumulated over 15 years of experience in teaching, clinical practice, and research within the field of physiotherapy. She have achieved a doctorate in physiotherapy in 2021, holds an international certificate from UNESCO, Chair of Bioethics in Haifa, Department of Education, received a certificate in educational science for health professionals, teachers by JIPMA, currently pursuing a fellow. Holds an international certificate from UNESCO, Chair of Bioethics in IFA, Department of Education, received a certificate in Educational Service of Education, received a certificate in Educational Science for Health Professionals, Teachers by JIPMA, currently pursuing a fellowship in Foundation for Advancement in International Medical Education and Research at the International Institute for Leadership in Interprofessional Education in Manipal, actively involved in the development and reform of curricula, playing a pivotal role in the successful implementation of outcome-based education in the department, took the lead in managing the NAC and NABH accreditation process in the department, serves as the core committee member for the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, completed a certified short course in educational methodology. We are grateful to her for accepting our invitation and making this event a gracious one. I now request our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Charulata Madam, to address the gathering.
A very good morning to everyone. Thanks for an elaborate, introduction. And I would also like to thank the Academy for giving me an opportunity to express my views and perspectives on the quality initiatives today. So hope at the end of the session, I'll be able to contribute and add up to some of the quality initiatives, which I feel that the Academy is already doing. So without much of time, we'll quickly go for that discussion. Ma'am, will you be able to share the slides?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, visible, ma'am?
No, not it. I think you have to open the PPT and the share the screen.
Yes, ma'am. Open, ma'am. Is it visible, ma'am?
No, just your download page is what I can see, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. The PPT is now visible.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Fine. Hope everyone is able to see the slides. Yeah. So to begin up with, I would like to quote the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda, who way back years ago, who considered education as a powerful tool. So he states that the education is for the formation of a character, strength of a mind, and the intellect, which will enable a person to be independent. So with those quotes, let's see what quality in education in an institution means to the teachers and to all stakeholders. So moving on to the next slide. Education now is considered as the most empowering mechanism. So this mechanism would have to focus on the human values, creation of knowledge, and its application on various aspects, including the individual, the society, and also develop goals for national needs. Ma'am, the slides are not moving. Will you be able to move the slides?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, is it visible, ma'am?
Yeah, please move on to the next slide, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, kindly check it, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
ma'am.
please go to the slideshow.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
பேஸ் தெரியாம இருக்கு. இது போட்டுருக்காங்க. கீழே வந்து அது காணும். உங்க பேஸ் தெரிஞ்சுட்டு வெளியில வந்துடும் அவ்வளவுதான். நீங்க ஆடியோ வேண்டாம். அது வீடியோ ஸ்டார்ட் போட்டீங்க. நம்ம பேஸ் இப்ப வராது. இங்க பாருங்க, இந்த வீடியோ ஆஃப் ஆயிடுச்சுன்னா நம்ம பேஸ் வராது. இங்க இருக்கல, இந்த வீடியோ கட் ஆயிருக்குல்ல, நம்ம கட் ஆயிருக்கு.
If you have any challenge, then probably I will try to share it from my end. Let me know, ma'am.
We will share it, ma'am. We will change the slide, ma'am.
No, can you just go for slideshow, because it's showing the slide master.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me reiterate. I was just trying to talk about in the introduction part, quality education. So in today's a session of webinar, we'll talk about what is quality education and what does quality means in education. Then we'll go on to discuss what is an Indian scenario, how the education will serve as a bridging gap between the present national trends and the globalization of education. And we'll also try to incorporate the quality mandates which has been advocated by UGC and the initiatives, and how we can inculcate those aspects in our institution. So these are the various contents which we are going to discuss today. So quality education, when we say education, it is an empowerment of an individual. And what does it mean, empowerment in our students and an individual, is where the quality aspect is. So education, as of now, at the present scenario, have to empower them in not only in the aspect of professional, but also out of the profession. We have the challenge, and we have the honors, that is the responsibility to make them as an good human and valued human. So there are various aspects the UGC is bringing in to incorporate in the curriculum, and that is considered as one of the important quality aspects in education. So the empowerment of the individual should bring in a new knowledge creation and innovation in them, and that has to align and relate to the individual as a person, for myself and for the society, and for the needs, and also for the sustainable developmental needs of the nation. So this is how we see education and quality in education as. The next slide, please. Most of the experts in the education field express that, IML ma'am, can you move on to the next slide? Express that there are
Yes.
4 important components, or they call as in pillars of an education system. So the one is about the quality improvement policies. In order to ensure that quality exists in the education, there has to be a continuous improvement, and to ensure the improvements are in place, there has to be a policy which is similar, and which can be followed by all the institutions. So one of the important pillar they consider for all these stakeholders in the institution is the quality initiatives and improvement policies, which would include all the stakeholders in that. So this quality improvement policy has within the ethical component. When I talk about ethical component, it is the cognition and the metacognition aspects of it, and then the technical components. Technical components, we cannot stay away from our roots. Is the aesthetical factors progressing to technical factors, and the immediate to transcendence parameters and the factors, which all are considered the pillars of education in terms of quality. Now, at present, the quality in higher education. Ma'am, please move on to next slide. The quality in higher education, what we see is complex and dynamic in nature. It is multifaceted, it's multiphasic and multidimensional. There are various aspects as an educator we need to look in. It is not the at the end of the day, it's not the course, it's not only just the topic which we will be delivering in the classroom, but it is beyond it. It is the practicality, it is what is expected in your graduates, and is that practicality and the competencies will help them to fetch a job. So that's why we considered it as a multifactorial and multiphasic, and it has to be constantly reformed, dynamic, because based on the trends, if we make a product and if we're not able to sell the product, then there is loss of energy, money, and investment, what is going on it. So let the education and the curriculum imbibed in the quality has to be, or focus to be, or considered as dynamic in nature. So this higher education, running various programs and educating the students should ensure that these dynamic nature, which is evolving in the system, should be specific to the context. Just because there are globalization and global things, and the markets and the gates are open to the students, we cannot stay off from the roots, and we have to start a connection within our local and environmental. So the education model have to be imbibed with the contextual factors, wherein there are two alignments which we have to look in. One is the needs of the national policy, the needs of the students, and the institutional vision and mission should be aligned, and it has to be specific to what it is considering to be delivered. So there are various complexities which we consider in higher education, and that's why it becomes challenging when we try to put it from theory to practice in terms of quality in higher education. So with this initial introduction about quality and various aspects of quality in higher education, let's see the present scenario of Indian scenario in education system. Ma'am, please move on to the next slide. The current scenario demands the graduates who are coming out of the education system to be employed. A recent research and survey by Government of India show that there are a lot of Indian graduates who are, especially engineering, they found that they are unemployable. So where are we? What are the education institution delivering? What is the content which is being taught? Wherein after 4 years or 5 years, the graduates are not able to align the industry requirements. One is the privatization of the institution, which cannot be changed. So the higher education institution are in a dilemma, or has to strike a balance between whether they have to focus on the societal needs or the needs of the development of the individual students. So here comes the focus of the higher education institution to see the sustainable developmental goals. That means the development of the curriculum or the pedagogy, where there are a lot of components which can be added, which can mold the professional to the needs of the developmental goals of the nation and also globally. So involving social, technological, and industrial aspects of revolutions and trends which are happening and imbibing them into the curriculum delivery can only help us to become a better education institution in the India. We can also see the transition of Gurukula system to Guru system, sorry. So Gurukula system, where the teacher was centric, now the accreditation body of government body says it's the learner-centric methods. Are you using a learner-centric outcomes or using a learner-centric teaching methods. So now the learner is at the center and the focus is on the learning outcomes. What are you teaching? It doesn't matter. What does the student learn? Now comes the question of how do we teach, what methods we use, so that we identify the different backgrounds of learners and ensure the learner goes with certain kinds of competencies and attributes so that they become employable. So now come the evolution of learner-centric curriculum and learner-centric programs, which demands a need for inculcating your human values and knowledge evolution. It is not just the absorption of knowledge, what is being delivered by the teachers, but the culture what the higher education institution and inside the classroom, the teacher and the academy is going to create should bring in and accelerate the knowledge development as a continuous process in their life. So that is the challenge what the higher education institution will have on itself to imbibe on the students. Next slide, please. Now, to overcome these challenges, what we have in terms of employability and to meet the global trends and to ensure the quality sustenance, we need to have certain quality initiatives and policies in place. Now, as I was just telling, when they did a survey, they found that what is the reason that the students were not employable or were trying finding it very difficult to find some employable opportunity, and they found that they were not industrially ready candidates. So those students had to take up some courses, some bridging up courses, or some mold themselves, or have to do some internships wherein they had to gain some experiences and then take up these jobs. So after analyzing the root causes of all these, the UGC has mandated or ensure that the factors what were found to be the reasons of lack of employability to inculcate or imbibe in the curriculum. It is also stated that there are teachers who are very stubborn and doesn't want to reform the curriculum, and they found it is very surprising that the faculty members doesn't want to do it because they are not in a process of knowledge update. We want our students to continuously learn on the updates and the advances which are happening, recent trends which are happening, but the faculty members fail and they found to have a lack of interest in updating their own professional knowledge in their domain, wherein they were unable to do the reformations in the curriculum. So this calls for an urgent need or an alarming situation where we all have to ask ourselves, the curriculum, what is being presently being delivered, is it relevant to the student community, irrespective of undergraduates, postgraduates, or it's in diploma program? Is that what the student will be expected to do at the end of the program in a job ABC? Is that what he is being taught inside the classroom? So it's highly demanding, and it's highly demanding for each one of us to ask this question at the end of the day when he is going to be employed. The skills what he require, is that being taught in the class? So if you get an answer yes, that's a thumbs up for all of us. If it's no, then we'll have to go back to our board of studies and then look back where we can dynamically change the curriculum into futuristically. Next slide, please. Now it's about the UGC qualitative mandates. The UGC has released the quality mandates upon which the higher education institution are expected to comply upon. So we will be talking a few important aspects of it and how we can do initiatives in aligning with this quality mandates, which has been recommended and insisted by UGC. So the quality mandates has the quality policy, the quality initiatives as the centric, and it's all for the learners and the outcomes of the learners. So the first one to look upon is it recommends that the higher education should ensure that the graduate outcomes align with the needs of the society and industry. So if that is being followed, then at least 50% of your graduates should be employed. Either it could be self-employment, or they should be able to approach to various avenues of opportunities for employment or in the process of it. So it insists on education with professional and life skills, and that includes your communication, your interprofessional skills, your values, ethics, morals, including your professional and lifelong learning. So they recommend by giving such education, the students will be molded to an opportunity wherein they will have, or they will involve in innovative and critical thinking ideas, probably moving on to an entrepreneurship perspective. The next is all about the teachers' training, the faculty development program. It mandates that all the faculty members, 100% of the faculty members, the institute should be trained with domain-specific ICT techniques. The recent trends and the ICT techniques pertaining to their specific domains should be trained among all the faculty members. Yes, definitely for the entry level, and reinforcement for the middle and the higher level educators. And also they have a vision that all the HEIs should be able to maintain a 2.5 NAAC score, at least a 2.5 NAAC score by 2022. So these are considered. And one more important thing I forgot to say is they want 2/3 of the students in your institute to connect to the local communities and then engage in a socially commanding activities. The outcome they want is to align with the national policies or recommend for the recommendations for the policy makers on the solution, what they perceive in the community setup. So they want our students to get engaged in various domains of the society wherein wanted them to contribute as a solution for the social challenges. So these are some of the aspects of UGC quality initiatives. Apart from that, it emphasizes on eco-friendly campus, sustaining eco-friendly campus, mentoring higher education institution. So institutions who have NAAC A++ or NAAC A+ indices, they are recommended to involve as mentors for the institutes who are wanted to have a vision of availing the or undergoing the NAAC process. They also insist on quality research culture and training of skills, various skills like human values and professional skills among the students. So we are going to just talk about it. This is just a bird eye view. Now, coming to these quality mandates, there are some 10 initiatives, that is like an objectives, and the initiatives the UGC has recommended, which the higher education institution are expected to follow and make use of it and apply and see in their context how best they will be able to maintain and initiate this quality recommendations. Ma'am, can you move on to the next slide, please? Now, this is what I was just mentioning as an initiatives. Basically, there are 10 to 11 initiatives which align with the quality mandates, which we just discussed in the previous slide. So these include student induction program, which is called as Diksharam, and learning outcome-based curriculum framework, and curriculum for life skill impartment, they call it as a Jeevan Kaushal. And the next one is the social and industry connect, which is basically focusing on fostering the social responsibility and the engagement in the community between the institution and the local community. They also insist on academic and research ethics, where we talk about the academic integrity. They talk about the academic integrity, and then comes the revolution reforms, wherein they say the teaching learning methods and the evaluation have to use in ICT based technologies. I mean. Then insisting on faculty development program, which is called as Guru Daksha, for all the appointed faculty members to ensure they undergo a refresher program, and for the senior cadre educators to undergo leadership and professional skill, academic and administrative training programs. So then it also talks about the alumni, the contribution of the alumni, how alumni association and alumni cell can integrate between the social industry connect and as an aspect of university social responsibility. So these are some of the initiatives which are linked to the qualitative mandates of a higher education institution. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So in the upcoming slides, we'll discuss about each objective and how we can link that to your institute. Now, Diksharam student induction program, most of you must be doing it. It's a mandate in the which is given as a foundation course in the MBBS curriculum, and also in the healthcare sciences or the healthcare science fraternity, we just follow the UGC mandates of student induction program. So student induction program, in some institute, they do it for a day or two, but it is recommended to do it for a week, at least for 6 days. And there is a beautiful pedagogy, a structured program, which is available in the UGC website, which has in certain objectives, in planning the student induction program, not to just bring in the student, welcome and do a freshers party. The basic idea behind this planning of student induction program should be focusing on 4 important areas. We call those areas as SAGE. One is socializing. How we are accommodating the newcomers from a school background into a higher education institution where there are varieties of educators and also students from different backgrounds in terms of culture, language, etc. So how do we make them connect with a good sense of intimacy between the students, seniors, or the eminent educators in their environment? So the next objective should be associating themselves by visiting various opportunities in the university, that is in the college, and also the areas around them, and that is by visiting their local areas. That will actually help them to connect to the culture where they have been and where they are currently into. And that is as early as a seed which you drop in to bring them a sense of connection to the place where they are going to spend the rest of 3, 4, or 5 years. The next one is about the governing rules and regulations of the university or the classes and the education institute, which you need to sensitize them and make them understand the policies, and also how these policies are going to be helpful for them in leading them in the right path. Then comes the part of the real experience, what they would be expecting and what the institute would be offering to them in forms of academic, curricular, and co-curricular activities, and what kind of exposure and the student would be having in the education institute. So this should be the major focus of the student induction program, which will have to have an outcome of bonding between the students and creating a sense of excellence, that what is the reason that I am here as a student, what is the reason I am here, and what I'm expected to be, and how I am supposed to build my character and values. So this can happen and should happen as early as when the student is stepping inside your institute through your student induction program. So plan the student induction program in such a way that the outcomes are focused, and each activity in the induction program, what we plan, should inculcate the human values, the self-awareness, and the compassion, which is all the characters we expect in a healthcare worker. Next slide, please, ma'am. Next is about the learning outcome based curriculum framework, which has been stated as the Jeevan Kaushal curriculum for life skills. So the curriculum for life skills and the learning outcomes can go hand on hand. It is inclined. So when I say learning outcome based curriculum, the outcome based, so we have some expectations, we want some outcomes from our graduates, and we think of aligning those outcomes based on the strategies what is being given inside the class. So we will have to work from bottom down strategies, wherein the graduate attributes what you expect when at the end of 1 year or 2 year, when the graduate is employed, and immediately after the program outcomes, whether they are aligned, and then align into the course outcomes. It's not only the outcomes of the course program and the graduate attributes which are important, but also the teaching methods and assessment methods need to be simultaneously aligned in order to achieve these outcomes. So the teacher should know what is expected to be taught in the class, and as well the student should also know what I am expected to learn. When this clarity and transparency comes inside the classroom of an higher education institute, then the jobs become easy for the teacher as well as for the student, because you know what is going to be assessed and taught, and the student also knows in hand what he is expected to learn. So this is the essentiality or the aura of the outcome-based education. So the outcome-based education is being mandatory, and outcome analyses are being should be carried out in the institution. So now we have choice-based credit system and outcome-based education. But what is the outcome of it? Are we analyzing it? The job doesn't end in framing, designing, and implementing the curriculum. The job is analyzing how much outcome you've asked my students are able to attain, whether these outcomes are helpful or beneficial for the needs of the employability. So at the end of 4 years or 5 years program, the outcome achieved by the group of students, usually it is the batch of students, is essential for the educator to understand where actually the curriculum reformation requires, and identifying the strength and weakness, and removing the redundant and overlapping parts, aspects, and including the newer trends into the curriculum. Right? So we need all the stakeholders to be actively participating in to frame this outcome-based curriculum aspect. Going ahead, along with this learning outcome-based curriculum and the focus what we discussed, there is a separate course or a program the UGC is insisting on exclusively curriculum for life skills. Now, these skills as part of communication skills, professional leadership skill, and universal values are integrated in the curriculum. For example, for the medical students, in the MBBS students, so they call it as an AdCom module, where it is beautifully integrated in every phase of their study. But however, in healthcare sciences, I think even in the nursing curriculum, they have adopted this. But there is still a gap which we can see in curriculums of allied health sciences courses, or physiotherapy, or speech pathology, courses of that sort, where we still see this gap of incorporating these values inside the curriculum. Now, giving them as a separate course can be an initiative, but on the long run, initiatives can be taken to see how I can specifically integrate these important aspects inside the curriculum. Because at the end of the day, we want them not only to be as a good professional, but as a good human being, responsible human being. And responsible means being sensitive, showing the values of empathy and passion towards the work what they do. So initially, to start up with, we have these modules available. It can be given as an elective or a value-added course, wherein these aspects of communication, professional skills, which are considered as an essential employability skills for our graduates. Please move on to the next slide, ma'am. So I was just talking about this learning outcome-based curriculum framework. And here, what we need to focus is on is ensure that the national standards are met and the global competitiveness for your program or for the graduate is taken into consideration. The courses in the program and the motivation and the inputs what has been given in the program should bring in a sense of lifelong learning in the professionals, because professional update is a key for quality improvements and quality sustenance in any higher education institution. And the stakeholders are not only the teachers and the graduates, but also the alumni who are going to contribute greatly for your curriculum reformation. So bringing in the sense of lifelong learning can go a long way in revolutioning the curricula for the needs of the learner and also the needs of the society. There is also a separate course or session for the human values and professional ethics, which the UGC calls as Mulya Prava. So there, it's exclusively about the connecting the cultural sensitivity and the human values for the professionals or for the students. And these aspects of the course, Mulya Prava, focuses on how to ethically take a decision, wherein most of the time, especially in the healthcare setup, there is an ethical dilemma scenarios where the healthcare professionals have conflicts on professional identity or take decision making a process, whether it is desirable or undesirable. So inculcating or sensitizing on the guidelines of the human values of professional ethics, if it is not part of the curriculum, then as in separate courses, what the UGC also has recommended can bring in complete the professional needs of a student. So this can also be integrated into curriculum when you're giving your discipline specific electives or your programs. Inside your programs also, you can see how these modules can be incorporated in the practicals when the patients, when the students go for bedside clinicals or when you do your bedside teachings. So the focus of including these values and ethics, the human values and ethics inside the curriculum is to bring in a holistic development of the graduates. That's a basic idea behind it. So when we say holistic, it's not only the professional, it's not only the curriculum which is involved, but the other components which will influence the professional outcome of the individual student. This holistic development will help us to understand what as a professional and a human being I can consider as right and wrong, and how I cannot be invulnerable, how I cannot bring an vulnerable situation to the fellow professional. So this is the holistic development aspect, what an institution can look into, which can also be considered as a quality initiator. Then is about the evaluation reforms in the higher education institution. Evaluation reforms, I think now most of the institute are putting it into place. Automation is considered as one of the considerable reformation what we see in most of the institutes. Gone are the days where things were done manually. Now most of the evaluation process, right from application entries, downloads, entry of the marks, and announcement of the results, or hall ticket generation, everything is automated. So why do we have insist, why do it's insisted that it's better to have automation? It's believed that bringing automation or using technology can reduce the errors, human errors, and also bias and issues which can happen in the evaluation process. Now, when we say evaluation, it is the continuous assessment and the summative assessment. There's a greater focus, centric, vision of the UGC and higher education to focus more on continuous assessment, because we know that continuous assessment is for the learning. However, many of our educators will many of you educators will agree with me that continuous assessment is going to be challenging if it is not structured and if we don't have enough manpower. But if your education system and institute, if it is able to practice the aura of continuous assessment, then there lies the success of teaching by the academician and the learning of the student. The actual learning, what we can see is through these continuous assessment. It need not be a part assessment test or a theory test at the end of a chapter, end of 2-3 chapters. It could be a quick assessment using technology-based app, like your Mentimeter. Also at the end of the class, put in some quick questions, MCQs, or cloud answer to find out what did majority of your students learn at the end of your class. That is also considered as continuous assessment, and bring in your technologies and empower your teachers to use these methods, which is quick and easier for them, and also make it student-centric. And in the continuous assessment, the more you bring in structure, like your inclusion of rubrics, even when you do a seminars or a case presentation or a clinical discussion, when you make some rubrics to address the quality of the presentation or the discussions, it becomes more quantified. Your continuous assessment becomes quantified. So the reformations not only need to be on the summative examination, but it can also start from the classroom level of your continuous assessment. So going ahead, the institution can think of improvised barcodes of the answer books to eliminate errors and malpractices. And also in the evaluation reformation, we can bring in use of software to do an outcome analysis or the competency analysis among the students, wherein it's just the marks which has to be entered, the question-wise marks which have to be entered, and beforehand the question bank is prepared, and with the question banks the outcomes are matched. So automatically the software will choose the outcomes which have been attained by the student and align the course outcomes with the program outcomes. And in a matter of minutes, the analysis, the report, the outcome report is ready for us. So in the evaluation reformation, the institution can also think about these sort of outcome analysis softwares into picture. Ma'am, next slide, please. Now, why there is a need of ICT enabled tools? We can see also in people who are working in the NAAC criteria core team in collecting and collating the data in NAAC criteria 2, as well as in the infrastructure and e-learning resources criteria, there is a lot of qualitative and quantitative data with geotagged photographs and e-learning resources which has been developed and utilized. Data has been asked by the accrediting bodies. So why there is an emphasis, all of a sudden emphasis on the ICT tool? Now, the present workforce, professors or the middle level professors who have been who educated, we did not come from outcome based education, right? So there is a gap between what is a skill which is required. There are times where we have to unlearn what we have learned, and there is a new learning which like many of us would have done based on the recent advances in our profession and also in our teaching skills, right? So to cover up the gap between the skill which is required and the reinforcement of new skills among the teachers, the major workforce, whether it is in teaching or non-teaching staff, this ICT tool training and the utilization of ICT tools will help us to empower to bridge these gaps. Now, it can also consume, the time factor can be considerably reduced when we are going to use this ICT tools. Like we can use our learning management system wherein you post, or the Google Classroom where many of us post the details what you want our students to be prepared, or you post your assignments and then ensure that the students are continuously monitored and practice even in not your absence. Or you can also take expertise who is in the other institute and get links, like we have in a webinar. And I could see that a lot of sessions and webinars which the IQAC is trying to connect with many people, and that integration of the various expertise to your students can happen through your ICT tools. So adoption of ICT tools, utilizing it should become a culture. We should bring in a place or in a lab, an area wherein these sort of techniques are available or the trainings are available, so the teachers are constantly being trained to use it for bringing in a professional scenario. So basically, these ICT tools is to bridge in the gap and ensure that the access, equity, and quality is spread to all the students who are not even able to reach for higher education always. Next slide, please. Now then comes the quality research and creation of new knowledge. So it's an important component. The weightage what the criteria 3, the research criteria has. The major points goes there, and people in higher education institution who do well in research are the one who can expect for good scores at the end of the NAAC assessment. So research, many of us think it's something difficult, or some of them are experienced, and they think they can do it on the go very easily. Research, if research have to be spread across the higher education institution. Now, why research? The nation, India, looks research as a tool for developing the nation. Now, because of global challenges what India sees, it believes strongly that the solutions to the problem, the nation's problems, can come only through research process. So there is a lot of funding and initiatives being made for research, and that's why research is made as a quality aspect and initiative in higher education institution. And in gone are days where research is a component in PhD and post-graduation. Now research is a integral component in undergraduation. So they talk about research internship, and they talk about capstone projects to be undertaken even in the school levels, and why not in undergraduation. So if we bring in the component of research from the undergraduates, the research criteria will greatly improve, the research outcome will greatly improve, and that will connect as to various linkages of patents, copyrights, and number of publications. Now, what the higher education institution can look into is sensitizing the faculty members in creating a credible research and ensuring that they promote integrity, research integrity when they do publications, right? So only that will help them to improve in the global ranks. They see not the average number of publications, they see per se per teacher what is the H index and how much is the publication per teacher in your higher education institution. So we can have people in every domain, in every faculty, people who are expertise or good in research can be exclusively involved in research, or they can be kept as a mentors for the middle level and the entry level teachers to shadow along with them and grow along with them in various research projects they are going into. Like you can have the postgraduates aligned, the first, the second year PGs, aligned and working on shadowing. We will do clinical shadowing with the interns along with the PGs. Similarly, this mentoring, research mentoring can be done in various levels of teachers, among the teachers. Now, the focus of this research in UGC brings on a lot of fundings opportunities for the higher education institution. The UGC have a scheme called as STRIDE, which is the scheme for transdisciplinary research for the Indian economy. So here, the funding goes on from 50 lakh to even 5 crore for project which has high impact, or projects which focus on solutions for the major concerns in the society. Either it could be humanities or it could be life sciences, but they look for innovative projects which has solution for the society's relevancy, and whether they are significant for the nation globally, and they should bring in some goals or developmental ideas which will have to fall in line with the policies which are available or changes in the policy. So these kind of projects have a huge impact for funding in the UGC. With the higher education institution can connect to these avenues and promote and sensitize the faculties of these opportunities, and then make them involve in it gradually and giving them opportunity. Example, if the teacher is going to be having a load of clinical services and teaching services and all these documentation process 24 to 36 hours in a week, you cannot expect them to involve in research or even think about the research gap, even though if they have an initiative. So the administrators and the institute have to have some guidelines and policy on how the opportunities or avenues can be created for the educators, the academicians, involving the students to bring in the research graph gradually up. Next slide, please. Now, when we talk about this research, bringing in a research culture and research integrity, it's the duty of the higher education to ensure the academic integrity is being practiced in their institution, which is an important quality aspect. It's not only about bringing in new ideas and promoting new ideas, but assessing whether the research which has been carried, the activities, the academic activities which has been carried out in their institute is of value, ethic, and integrity is being followed. Right? So we need to have the institution need to have some process in place and monitoring in place to ensure whether these standards are being maintained. If not, there will be it could be intentionally or intentionally in order to complete the process and to just for the sake of sticking to the guidelines, the stakeholders may be publishing in predatory journals or involving in plagiarism, which can cause a huge impact not only to the professionals and the students, but also to the institute in a matter of integrity. Ma'am, next slide, please. Now coming to the other aspect of faculty development program, which is called as Guru Dakshata by the UGC initiatives. So faculty development program, in few of the research reviews, what I had come across, it was very surprising that the faculty initiation and reinforcement of faculty development program among the entry level and the middle level educators has been quoted as an important factor to bring in a high impact in the quality education. Whether you want to bring in a change in the teaching methods, or you want to ensure the outcome has been achieved, the faculty development program is an important tool. Some of the administrators and the educators are ourselves feel that, no, I have done this faculty development program when they have joined. It has been taught to them, it has been told to them, but we don't see an implementation. Now, identify where are we lacking. Now, as a professional, I've been trained to treat the patients, right? Unlike if you take the schools, the teachers in the schools, or the teachers in the colleges for arts and commerce, there is an B.Ed, which is made mandatory by the government, but not so by many of the private schools still, that they get a formal training in teaching. But however, the professionals in the healthcare industries and also in the medical schools doesn't have this formal training. So that is the huge gap what the institutes have to identify and reinforce. So there has to be a stringent, focused, objective faculty development program to train them as teachers. So the gap is the professionals are as being trained all the 4 years or 5 years to treat the patient or diagnose a condition, or to give a therapy for a set of conditions, but not on how to teach, how to have a class or group dynamics, and then work on this outcome-based education. So working and planning the faculty development programs with certain objective and reinforcing it at least yearly twice, 6 months once, or as and when required as the need arises, but at least every 3 or 6 months is a good initiative by the higher education institution. We can also see that certain universities or institutions have this as one of the good practices. The faculty development program can also be one of the good practices of the institute, wherein a structured timing is incorporated in the can be incorporated in the timetables, and like how you do here now, like structured monthly webinars, there can be a bi-monthly sessions on the faculty development program, and the topics can come from the teachers themselves, from the stakeholders, teachers and administrators themselves. So identify the need, do a need-based analysis and get the topics and train them on it, and let the faculty develop program should have an outcome. How do I implement? Let it have an outcome. So when you teach them for how to prepare the SLOs or how to do an outcome analysis, let them implement it at the end of a month on one of the course they are dealing with and submit to the this medical education unit or the university professional university education unit. So faculty development program reinforcement and with an outcome and objective is something the higher education institution can think of as a quality aspect. Next slide, please. Now, when we spoke about the faculty development program, the idea of the social responsibility and the community engagement arises here. The nation needs the solution for the complex problem in the society, and it relies upon the education institutions, the educators, and the students. So the UGC calls it as Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, which means fostering or foster the social responsibility among the students, and by fostering this responsibility, engage them in the community to bring in solutions for complex problem in consensus with the community people in the community and the leaders in the community. So the basic idea behind this social responsibility and community engagement, this connectivity, what the higher education institution are expected is to bridge in the gap between the theory and the practice. So we keep on teaching the students that you have to train the patient like this, you will get the cases, and this is how the patient will be living in. But we fail to take them to see the real picture. And when they really see it during their employment, it can become challenging for them, because each individual, each patient is going to be different with different kind of clinical presentations. So this connecting to the community, engaging in the community, can help them to engage in the community in early days of their education itself. Now, apart from that, there can be partnership which can happen between the local communities and the institutes, and that can also bring in the institutional public values, a public value for the institution, where the institution can be more publicly acceptable and recognized, where it can also help in the growth and development of the institution. So this community engagement of your students, which can start as early as during a student induction program, should follow up in each year and each semester, where your curriculum should be planned to link to the community needs. So we can have the part of the community representatives as the members, as a part of discussion, as active stakeholders when we reform our curriculum. Let's see whether any component or a perspective can be added with the needs in our local community. So this will help us to engage the community with the higher education, which will also, which can also show as a sense of responsibility and the university social tie-ups, and that can we can link it and take it further in research projects, which can which can receive funding from our higher education institution centers, like various avenues where we can tap the funding. So next comes, along with our university social responsibility and paying a focus on the community, the sustainable development and eco-friendliness, what we can maintain in the campus. That is also has been given a lot of emphasis, which we can see in the criteria 7. The NAC and the UGC expects the higher education institution to ensure that there is a green campus and sustainable lifestyles have been followed, and audits has been ensured. There is biodiversity, whether landscapes are done, whether the resources have been optimally used, how is the waste management is being done, how there is water and energy resources are being maintained and sustainable. So in order to ensure that we have an eco-friendly campus inside the higher education institution, this connection to local communities can go a long way to incorporate this. Ma'am, next slide, please. Now, this is what I was just telling and discussing, that how the local communities and higher education institution can connect and bring in interactions to give solutions and work on solution consensus, working in consensus to give real life solutions, and how that can also be adopted as a part of our curriculum during our curriculum reformation, aligning our course content and pedagogies to the requirements of the national development. And that can also have linkages in our research project. Next slide, please. Now, next one is about the alumni engagement, alumni progression. The higher education institution, when it works on inculcating the professional development, life skills, and industry-ready parameters. Now, isn't it the duty of the institute, higher education institute, to see how did my alumni excel and what has been given to them over the period of 4 or 5 years at my institute as an investment? It can also expect as an returns from the alumni. So having alumni cell in place, yes, most of the higher education institution has it, but how active it is, does it has an objective, and are their objectives met every year? So the activities of the alumni, how it has been linked to the quality initiatives of the university is what we have to ask. Now, the alumni who has been employed, has acquired various positions, not only brings a lot of laurels to the alma mater, but also brings in with them the rich experience and the professional networking, what they have back to your university. So your linkages, or again, your entrepreneurship opportunities, your what is this? Student developmental cells, and innovative incubators, yes, innovative ideas, your incubator cells, and funding for your seed money for the student research projects can all be tapped in through an active alumni cell in place. So it has to be reciprocative. The alumni's need should be met, what is in it for them, and also the reciprocation of alumni deliberations to the university. So an active alumni cell with linkages of their activities can linkages their activity to quality requirements of the university can actually be built, over the period of years. And most important is the sustenance and continuation of the activities what has been initiated by the alumni. So that has to be looked into by the administrators. They are the one who are the what I can say is like the proof of what has been prepared or initiated in your higher education institution, and what is the outcome. So they are the evidences, don't forget, of what is being done in your higher education institution. So it can be positive and negative both. So if it's positive, it's an green card for us. If it's negative, then we need to go back and reform the areas of threats and opportunities. Ma'am, please move on to the next slide. Yes. So the last but one would be the mentoring of non-accredited institutes, which is also considered as a quality mandate. Now, the experiences what the institute has got about, and the process throughout in building up quality in their higher education institution. When it comes to the contextual factor, the environment in the communities, it is definitely going to vary from one institute to the other institute. So the mentoring by the accredited institute to the non-accredited institutes can help them support and share their expertise and resources. But what is the benefit for the institute, which is mentoring? Mentoring, it's called as Paramarsh by the UGC initiatives. And remember, there are weightages and separate marks, weightages in terms of weightages, which will be given in NAC accreditation and also in NIRF ranking for the institute which is mentoring. And the institute which gets mentored should also acknowledge the group of institutions which help them the process of obtaining their NAC accreditation. So it's the acknowledgement of the institute which is going to mentor, and also an increased weightage of marks. So these are some of the UGC initiatives, quality initiatives and mandates, which have to be practiced in higher education institution, and the IQAC and the administrators have to think of policies and initiatives. That means workable objectives on how the activities can be planned in each faculty to connect to their quality initiatives. Next slide, please. Yes. Now, when we have spoken about all these parameters, various aspects of student, curriculum, teacher, faculty development program, research, and integrity, to ensure that everything happens, it's initiated, it's happening, and it should happen and go on. Personally, I strongly believe that it's the governance plays a major factor, and it's a powerful tool. If the university have to progress and if the progression have to accelerate, the powerful tool is the governance. It's the administrators, the skills in the administrators, the flexibility what the administrators are going to bring in, the policies in terms of the changing needs of the working community, in addressing the needs of the students and the academy, the skill and the knowledge and the attitude of the administrative officials has to sync with the need of the higher education institution. So the governance, policies, the flexibility in the policies and the monitoring of the policy which are to be followed is the vital or the roadmap for success of any university. Next slide, please. Now, so having discussed about the quality initiatives and how do we, disperse these initiatives into meaningful way in the education, we'll also see the challenges and how to overcome these challenges as we are at the end of the session. So the challenges in quality sustenance, there are various challenges. What we speak is different from what we do. Many of us feel that, because of time factor, because of expertise, and the workload what each of the educators have in the higher education institution. But it is seen that most of the experts see that the challenges in quality sustenance in maintaining it. Now a group of administrators, the IQAC or quality cells in different institutes and the accreditation bodies ensure that the quality is initiative and it is being implemented. Now, as years goes on, when you complete your first and second cycle, when you come to the other cycle, there is a demand to bring in new initiatives and new changes, new initiatives and new changes and new collaborations what we have to make. So what about the one which has been started 5 years back? Say, for example, the MOU, which we did 5 years back or 3 years back, is still active? Are there any linkages to it? Are there any activities being performed? What is the objective we forget of, bringing in that MOU? So sustenance is highly questionable, and that's where the role of IQAC plays an eminent way, to insist, this has to be done, this is pending, and this has to be looked into, this has to be continued. And if not continued, what is the reciprocation? Now, most of the experts, I see that the challenges or lack of coordination among the stakeholders. So the stakeholders can be the administrators, the educators, the teaching and non-teaching staff, the students, and the management. So the lack of cooperation, understanding, and professional skills will have an impact on the quality aspect. It can even turn upon from the university-centric or the policy-centric to a person-centric matter. Now, the next challenge would be the funding. If there is crunches of funds which comes to the institute, or if the institute or the management is not able to spend on certain aspects, certain areas of example, the ICT or the infrastructure or the learning resources, then the quality initiatives has to face a lot of crunch. Now, next is your human resource development. quality, UGC very strongly says that not more than 10% of the approved seats can be vacant. 10% of the teaching staffs cannot be vacant in a higher education institution. So maximum at any point of the time, it should be seen that 90% of the approved seats have to be filled by the higher education institute. And now when the human resources are in place, now the question is the availability of the human resource and what is the quality of the human resource, and to improve the quality, what kind of human resource development activities we have to do. So we need to have a center in the institutes, a dedicated center for professional development, and a cell to conduct activity and monitor the professional development, the human resource development activities. So the absence of human resource development, as I told you, the research we're also quoting the importance of faculty development program. If it is absent, that is going to be a challenge for quality systems. Now, how quickly we are ready to accept the change or implement a new idea or an innovation, and what are the avenues or opportunities the faculty or the student has in the higher in education institution to implement their idea or give their thought or work on their innovative instincts which they have got during the course of the teaching or in their clinical expertise. So if there is going to be a delay, there is going to be a lack of satisfaction and demotivation, and again that is going to impact the quality. And last and most important, I'm sure that most of you will agree, the prompt and impartial grievance redressal. If there is a delay in the grievance redressal from the administrators, when a grievance is reported either from the student community to the faculty community, and if the outcome is going to be impartial without any policy or the structure of grievance redressal in place, that is going to be a big sabotage for the quality systems. So these are some aspect of challenges in the quality systems which I've brought in. There could also be many, and we'll have to put it across and then see what are the priorities among the challenges, what are the priorities which we can bring in a change. The last slide, please. Now, the steps we can incorporate. Most of the steps we know it, but how are we doing it and how can we do it? The priority and the most important one, practically speaking, is having a monitoring system in the place. You know that when the behavior of a certain group of teachers or the students, when your head of the department is present, or how the students will be behaving or doing their work when they know that, okay, there is someone to monitor them. And then later it becomes a practice. So the higher education institution have to ensure that there are periodical checks and audits. Periodical checks and audits to ensure the quality initiatives are practiced in each phase and component of their institute. Now, bring in a quality culture. It's not only during the audits, it's not only during the accreditation process. The documentation people sit and do for weeks together, and then yes, all the documents are ready. That is not the culture. No, it has to be done every day and every moment. If you think that this webinar is of any help, this title is of any help to you, this will become a culture, this will become a practice, irrespective of the person A who is present there, whoever is the dean, who is at the head of the department. This will become a practice in the institute, which I'm stating as a culture. So it's not for the requirement of the accreditation body, it is not for the requirements of the governing body to run the program. The quality has to bring in. The quality has to be imbibed as the oxygen for the education system. Next solution is relationship management, which is working on the interpersonal skills. So interprofessional. Now the School of Allied Health Sciences didn't had any objection or didn't have a thought process in calling a person from a physiotherapy background to talk about or give some insights about the accreditation. So this sort of attitude and acceptance, working together in interprofessional for an common focus, can help in improving the quality aspect. So relationship management is about working together, integrating together, and still working for myself. I mean, bringing in our principles, not compensating my principles, and also working together for the cost of improvement in the institution. So there can be a lot of workshops on interpersonal skill among the teachers and the students, and the dynamics of the workplace, how the work culture has changed, and how the classroom dynamics is changing, the interaction between the teachers and the students. We can come across the entry level, or also in many teachers, the teacher picks in an argument or issues with the student and challenging the student challenges the teachers, wherein the focus of the classroom learning is lost. So training them and sensitizing them and interprofessional skills and classroom dynamics will help us to save a lot of time and focus on the vision of the academy. And as we have already discussed about the industry and institution alliances and integration can help build lot of linkages in the quality aspects of the higher education institution. Then similar to that is our globalization and liberalization ideas in the higher education institution. So globally and locally. So we want our students, our education program to be connected to the local community, because that is the need of the nation. So the nation needs the higher education vision, and also prepare them for the global trends. So linking these two aspects is going to be complex, and that's when we need expertise from different various backgrounds to reform our curriculum or ensure the curriculum is aligned. Liberalization helps us to be flexible to the needs of the curriculum. So days are gone when only the 10 or 20 or 50 teachers in a college or the university will be involved in the teaching learning process. Now the UGC is recommending and also insisting professor of professional practice. We can call eminent personalities whom you think of used to our students from various backgrounds, from either it could be from genetics or engineering or arts, humanities. All these dimensions are getting integrated in curriculum through our various teaching learning methods. So the liberty and flexibility of having a remote person as an expertise, as an eminent person who is an competent faculty in some Indian Institute of Science or IIT Madras can be invited to give talk on this value addition skills and technologies and NEP policies, things like that. So now the curriculum and the higher education institute should be flexible and liberal to open up avenues for this. And as I've already mentioned, it is the effective leadership, the administrative skill, the dynamic attitude of the leader, which can bring in a change in the institute, and also not only the leader, the team, which has to be with the leaders. That is, we educators have to coordinate and work for the quality initiatives. So these are the insights and the deliberations what I had shared it with you. If there is anything you would want to put it across for a discussion, I'm open up to take it up. So I'd like to end the session with the vision of the NAC. It's not my own words. So these are references from NAC and UGC mandates and UGC policy documents which I presented today. Make quality the definition of higher education. It's not an addendum, but it is something which is within the core element. And how can we bring it? Through evaluation, promotion, and sustenance initiatives. So we need to constantly assess and reassess and promote varied activities and ensure it is practiced, that's when I can say that, yes, quality is an integral, not a component, but an integral aspect. It is education. Quality is education.
Thank you,
So,
ma'am.
that's all
That
from
was
my
a
end.
truly
Yeah.
full and informative webinar, and for sure it helped us to articulate and consider new aspects of higher education, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Participants, if you have any doubts, kindly post in the chat box. Participants, if you have any doubts, kindly post in the chat box. Ma'am,
Yeah.
we have received an query, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is there any specific courses on mentoring which can be incorporated for the faculties as a part of their development or skill enhancement?
Yes, there are courses for the faculty members based on whether they are entry level. You have refresher courses where these teaching learning methods, teaching learning skills are being given by UGC. You can go to the website and there are centers in South and in the North where you can get it enrolled. And for the senior faculties, they have programs called LEAP, where leadership and administrative skill training happens. So it's usually from 2 weeks to 4 weeks program, which the UGC takes initiatives. Apart from that, there are also various nationally accepted institutes. Like if for you the focus is teaching learning methods, you can have you can enroll for courses in JIPMER, or if you take St. John's, they give a faculty development programs specifically on teaching learning methods or teaching learning pedagogies or outcome based education in these nationally accredited institutes as well. But you have these initiative from UGC, and some 5 years back, they have started, giving these programs. And the most important thing, what I want to emphasize is there, but in educators, you go as you go out and get training in this aspect. Please come back to your institute and ensure it is disseminated to all your fellow faculty members. That is most important, which I feel that doesn't happen. The institute, the higher education institute, definitely takes a lot of initiative in financing the faculty members for this program, whether it could be a conference or workshops. But the outcome is the higher education institution to ensure that the faculty members come back and disseminate their knowledge to their fellow faculties in terms of faculty development programs inside the institute. So institutionalize the knowledge translation.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, next question. Kindly advise how can we improve the industry institution alliances for sustaining quality?
Okay. Industry and institute collaboration. Now, where do I start? If I think about collaborating the institute, it can just come from your student. For example, we are in a rural setup where we have a lot of industries. There is an area called Narsapura, and there are a lot of small scale industries in and around. So, as a part of your community visits, I'm sure your students will have community visits. So, arrange a community visit. Go to the industry and see what kind of work or occupation it happens, and how we are in a healthcare institute, right? And how a healthcare institute objective can align with them. So we just had a community visit with a group of PGs and interns and senior students, and we had an interaction. And probably that had helped us to just have an initial talk with the HR and the manager of the industries, and later we understood the requirements and we brought in a tie-up. So the employees come here for screening purpose, and the physios also go for regular economic advices. So the initiation is meet up with the people and then see how your objectives can align. So for that, you probably need some references. So the references you can make from your institute through your emails or through your contacts or through the contacts in your colleges. Now, when you take your college, you may have a lot of people from your local. That's why I was insisting on local community. So here, even we had a lot of students, 60 to 70% of the students who come from the local communities. So these students had some sort of connections to the industries which are around and representatives. Now, even when we wanted to do some school programs, as I told, the university and the social connection, we had taken students who had completed their placement plus 2 from those schools to give various kinds of integrated health education programs. So use the community. So the community is in your institute. So the integration starts from there. So see for connections from there and building how your department objective or competencies can help them align their what they need. So you can have an integration when you fill in what they require. And for that, we have to work as an integrated. It's not only physiotherapy they may require. It's not only the ENT surgeon can have a role, but it's an integrated approach what we have to look into when we connect with the industries. I
Thank
think
you,
the
ma'am.
session was little long. I'm
No,
sorry
ma'am,
about it.
it was very informative session, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, we didn't receive any further questions, ma'am.
All right.
Shall we move
Yes,
on
yes.
to the vote of thanks, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, ma'am. Participants, feedback link have been posted in the chat box. Kindly fill the details. I would like to call Mrs. Ayama ma'am, IQAC coordinator, SAHS, Venaga Missions, Puducherry campus, to give away the vote of thanks.
Yeah. I deem it with a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on a great occasion. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making today's occasion a great success. On behalf of faculties of various institute, college, schools, I would like to extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all dignitaries for taking time to grace this occasion. We are grateful to our chief guest, Professor Dr. Charulata Ma'am, Department of Physiotherapy, Sri Devaraj URS Academy of Higher Education and Research, Karnataka, for kindly accepting our invitation and sharing the words of knowledge. I owe my sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Nanashekar Sir, Director IQAC of VMRFDU, for his enormous support and guidance. I extended my sincere thanks and gratitude to our beloved Professor Dr. B. Senthilkumar Sir, Dean Allied Science, VMRFDU, for all words of wisdom for us, sir. I extended my sincere thanks to our eminent Mr. Andrew Sylvester Sir, Director, School of Applied Science, Puducherry Campus, VMRFDU, for his support, vision, and commitment. I extend my thanks to IQAC team and IT department of VMRFDU, Salem. I extended my thanks Dr. G. Savita for this webinar. Once again, I thank you all this participation event. Thank you, ma'am. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Hope it was of some information to all of you. Have a good day ahead. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.